How is AI transforming the biotech industry? And are current R&D systems equipped to keep up with the rapid pace of AI-driven innovation? Well, today I'm going to be joined by the CTO at a company called Benchling, the R&D cloud platform that is helping the biotech sector unlock its full potential. And Stephen's going to be bringing more than 20 years of experience in the software industry, including roles at Motorola and Groupon, where he built cloud and SaaS platforms that enhanced organizational efficiency. But today, his mission at Benchling is modernizing drug discovery and development processes with technology that can handle the speed and scale of AI's impact on R&D. So we're going to discuss how AI is applied to drug discovery, the role of cloud technology in accelerating innovation, and why data quality and accessibility are key challenges for biotech companies today. So how can we ensure that AI isn't just generating drug candidates, but also transforming the entire R&D platform? Well, let's dive straight into this conversation with my guest right now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Hi, my name's Steve Deasy. I am the CTO here at Benchling, based in the Bay Area. So at Benchling, I'm responsible for our software engineering teams, as well as our security teams as well. So that's me.
Awesome. And I suspect you've seen the industry evolve so much throughout the years. I mean, the last 2 years alone, so many big changes. But can you tell me a bit more about your experience in the SaaS industry, some of the things that you've seen there?
Sure. So my background was originally in the software, at the intersection of software and infrastructure. I spent 10 years at EMC before doing a few years in advanced development at VMware. Most recently, before Benchling, I was at Atlassian, where I was running all of the platform and infrastructure teams, and then later some of the product engineering for things like Jira, Confluence, Trello, all those products that hopefully you're using every day.
I've got to ask, I think most people listening in the corporate world, especially corporate America, they know all about software as a service and have preconceptions on what that means. So I've got to ask, what is the main difference between SaaS in biotech compared to other industries? And what was it that motivated you to make that transition into a more specialized field like biotech? I feel like there's a bit of a missing jigsaw piece or an origin story there. What's the story?
I would have said the same at the start, but I think, coming into it and learning very much, it makes more sense. So one of the challenges in biotech is just the rate of change in the modalities and the science. So if you think about in any one of the dimensions, the amount of research that's happening, both in academic and just in commercial settings. So the pace of change is immense. And to support that, the software needs to keep up or even be ahead and anticipate these changes, so the scientists have the tools they need to really get the therapies they're working on or whatever projects they have to market as quickly as possible. And so that's different from, let's say, a very horizontal space where maybe there's broader trends you can tap into, you can see things emerging in a larger audience and so on. And then I would say the other difference is the tools we provide really have to be fit for purpose. So we are working with scientists. Their job is they don't come in the morning fired up to work on software. They come in the morning to work on experiments, to collect data, to do the analysis. And so our tool really needs to work out of the box for their deeply scientific use cases. And so that's one of the things that I think is different about a highly vertical solution versus a more horizontal. I would say some of the similarities are in this space, there's a lot of transformation happening, whether it's digital transformation to the cloud, whether it's all the AI changes that have been happening over the last couple of years. And maybe that's the part that drew me in. So coming out of the pandemic, when you think about, I don't think many people knew what mRNA was prior to COVID vaccines coming out and so on. Whereas Benchling I just learned this week, our first CRISPR tools were in scientists' hands 10 years ago. And so we've been in this space for a while, but seeing the explosion over the last few years made me more aware of this space and got me interested in what's happening both in the science, it's happening in every industry, it's happening in every region around the world. And so that got me interested in having conversations with a company like Benchling. And then when I learned what was happening around scale, performance, technology, solving problems for customers, that's an area that I have a lot of experience with. And so I was able to bring that experience in while still learning, let's say, the life sciences, technologies, and science and business, which I didn't have. And so for me, that theme of being able to grow myself while also feeling like I can have impact was what made biotech in particular a perfect fit for me.
And we've mentioned biotech there, and I'm conscious there'll be a few people listening hearing about Benchling for the very first time. So for those people listening, can you just expand on what Benchling does and also how pharmaceutical companies in particular and biotech firms are using your services?
Sure. Benchling's mission is to unlock the potential of biotechnology. And generally that's in the pharma space, but it's also emerging in a whole bunch of other verticals as well. So it's happening in consumer goods, industrials, a whole plethora of places around the world. And so the main mission of the Benchling product then is to provide a single platform on which your scientists can work, providing very scientifically aware software, but also a central source of truth and a backplane for your collaboration, your data platform, and integrations with all the other tools you use on a day-to-day basis. And so with that, what we find is our end users are coming in, they're working on their science within Benchling, they're using our modified modality software to help them on a day-to-day basis. That's in what we call the wet lab, which is in the, you typically think of scientists in the lab with coats and pipettes and so on. And then the dry lab is where the science and the AI and the ML might be happening to say, take all of the data that's happening from those experiments, perform analysis, and see if there's ways that you can either optimize or improve to get to an outcome faster. And so Benchling helps with that entire loop. When you think about our customer base, we have about over 1,200 customers around the world. And while they're everything from startups to Fortune 500, we have some of the largest pharma companies in the world. They're primarily in pharma, but they're in other verticals as well. And then in addition to the commercial offering that we have, we also have a free version of Benchling that we make available for academics. So in biotech and in this space, there's so much research happening in universities and collaboration happening that we want to make those tools available to academics as well. And so there's a free version of Benchling that's available there too.
And we've both done incredibly well here. We've lasted 10 minutes into a tech podcast without mentioning AI, but predictably, AI has also been hailed as somewhat as a game changer in the drug discovery industry. So I'm curious, cutting beyond all that hype, from your perspective, why do you think it still is one of the best place to apply technology in biotech right now?
I would start with the human impact. Right, if you think of AI as a way to accomplish a goal rather than a goal in and of itself, if you think about the impact of the drugs and the therapies that are shipping, it's saving lives, it's improving quality of life, it's hitting climate change. So it's hitting all of the things that you would want to when you're applying technology for huge impact in the world. I think within biotech, then we're seeing two main applications of that. One is a very domain-specific world. So bio-AI models like AlphaFold or even BioNemo from NVIDIA, which are primarily around drug discovery. So how can you, find better leads? How can you develop drug candidates faster and better with, all of the data and technology that's out there? So that's where you see a lot of the bio models starting to emerge. Actually, just yesterday, we did an announcement with NVIDIA around how to set up platforms to support these kinds of models. The second area then, which is probably more general purpose in terms of the application of the technology, is just helping scientists be more productive in their day-to-day work. So some of the numbers we see are, bringing a drug to market is many years. It costs many billions of dollars, and it is a super high failure rate. So anything you can do to reduce the cycle time in that is a huge benefit to ultimately the end result of getting therapies out to patients faster, but also helping customers develop their pipelines faster as well, and potentially weeding out things that are not working. And so we see that balance between the bio models of drug discovery, where we are helping and enabling our customers do that, and then the productivity pieces, which are really happening deeply within our product. And we think the combination of those can be real game changers for not just us, but the entire industry.
And as this is a tech podcast, I'd love to take a little look under the hood for a moment at some of the technology that makes all this possible. So what role do you think cloud technology is playing in enabling AI-driven drug discovery and indeed development? How are these technologies complementing each other to deliver what we're seeing here?
Sure. And Benchling is, a company that was born natively on the cloud. And so one of the benefits is the ability to rapidly turn the innovation we have at Benchling into usable features and improvements in our customers' hands. So that lead time from innovation to use is super, super short in the cloud world. And so it's something that we take advantage of all the time. The second one then is just scale. The scale of infrastructure. I'm old enough, Neil, to remember when I was writing software years ago, you would put in a ticket, you would wait 6 months to get a physical machine assigned to you, and then you would start working on it. And now it's instantaneous. So the ability to scale up and down with the size of the data, with the type of model, to really optimize for speed, throughput, collaboration. So really what you're doing is you're optimizing your infrastructure for your business needs over, let's say, trying to manage throughput of a physical data center and things like that, which are important, but are not core and strategic to your business. And so it helps you really focus where you want to be in your business, which is working on your outcomes rather than working it really good to manage infrastructure. And then what you're also doing is you're delegating some of those specialized roles, whether it's security, compliance, to teams that do this all day, every day. And so you're able to take advantage of all the investments there without necessarily having to stand up large investments yourself. And so cloud really has just transformed the speed at which companies and customers can use software, absorb the software, but also focus on the things that are most important to them.
Love that. And obviously AI gets all the headlines right now, but I'm curious, right at the heart of all this is data. So how is Benchling helping organizations to manage those vast amounts of data required to deliver much of what we're talking about here today?
We mentioned at the start, I think, in you and I, about AI and where it's going. It's hard to believe it's only coming up on 2 years since ChatGPT really kind of blew the doors open on an interface to the Gen AI and the LLM technologies that were happening. But AI is much bigger than Gen AI. Gen AI is absolutely an aspect of that. And in that AI space, a lot of the traditional challenges are still there. You need access to data. So you have data that is spread out through a number of applications, be they legacy or third party. You need to, provision access to that, make sure people have access to the things they need. Is the data high quality? Is it curated? Is it in a state that I can use in my AI models or in the applications that I'm building on top? So a lot of the traditional challenges that maybe existed for AI and ML usage are still there today, and to some degree are even higher priority, because a lot of the newer models and newer tools will take the data you have and give you an answer. And so you need higher quality answers because the ease of using these tools is getting, better and better. And so what we see is within Benchling, outside of AI, just in the general use of our tool, customers spend a lot of time modeling their science, modeling their workflows and processes. And so inherently in that is the creation of high quality data structure. Teams are working across the organizations to work on the same platform, which means your data is in a single place. So from an AI perspective, now you look at something like that and you say, I have the data in a certain place. I know how it's modeled. I have lineage. I have context. I have all the metadata I need. So it's a fantastic way now to enable rapid value from your AI investments. And so we see customers, Sanofi is a great example. Sanofi is one of our European customers. And Sanofi last year, actually, their CEO came out and said they want Sanofi to be the first drug company powered by AI at scale. We've been working with Sanofi now for 3 years, where we went through a lot of legacy applications across 30 teams globally, and we've been able to collapse that down to run on Benchling now, and they've seen really significant improvements in their throughput, in their quality, because of that investment in the data availability, the data structure, and using something like Benchling on the back end then to make sure that it's all in a single place. So we really see ourselves as being able to drive that kind of AI capability with customers, particularly as this is now top of mind for everyone from the scientists to the boardroom.
And based on the current climate and indeed your time in R&D, what would you say are the biggest challenges facing the current research and development systems in biotech, especially when it comes to handling that speed and scale of AI-driven drug discovery? What are you seeing here?
We hit a couple already. I would say the data quality and accessibility is the classic garbage in, garbage out. I don't think that problem has changed over the years, but it really, there has been a spotlight shone on it again because of the promise of AI, right? What AI can do is so powerful that the data quality and availability is something that really drives how fast you can get value from that investment. The second challenge then we see is legacy technology, where companies have done a great job over the last 30, 40 years building applications in-house or integrations. But now when you want to move fast and apply models and bring the data together, that legacy technology can be a pretty big inhibitor. And so we see companies going through, whether you call it a digital transformation, a cloud transformation, particularly in the pharma space, where there has been so much investment in tools over the years that now that starts to become an inhibitor, and companies are thinking about how to turn it into an advantage by using, let's say, more bespoke tools or better data quality and management. And then maybe stepping out of the technology side, a real challenge is just talent. Like everywhere else, it was hard to hire software engineers. It's hard to hire bioinformaticians, you see people coming out of college now with STEM backgrounds, which is fantastic, but this is such a broad surface area of technology and science that getting enough people in. So anything that we can do to ease the onboarding, make the data available, make mentoring and growth faster is an area that also helps with getting to those outcomes as quickly as possible.
And something I always try and do on this podcast every day is give everyone listening a valuable takeaway. So for everybody listening, no matter where they are in the world, is there any advice that you'd give to any organization or business leader that maybe they're just at the beginning of exploring integration of AI into their R&D processes, finding their way around this, trying to work out the best steps and not make any mistakes or make needless mistakes? Any advice you'd give to those people listening?
There's a few, and I think one is just general best practice, and it sounds an Americanism, mom and apple pie, which is to really define the problem that you're trying to solve, because there is such an array of technology and capability choice out there. If you're not clear on the outcome that you're trying to drive, you can get easily distracted or chase things, and you're like, at the end, you're not sure how you ended up there, or is this the right technology? So being very clear on the problem and continually going back to that as you make everything from technology choices to trade-off decisions and saying, is this helping us achieve the goal? That data readiness and quality, now we've spoken about a few times, that continues to be the thing that is, a huge driver or inhibitor of the speed at which you can realize the value of those AI investments, and just technology in general is a huge thing. And then in any company, as you start building, if you're something like a Sanofi or an AstraZeneca, some of the customers we have, or even we have small customers like Hoxton Farms in London, are doing some very interesting things as well. Just having the collaboration across your team. We found, talking to customers, that one of the largest drivers of delays was handoffs between teams. Context sharing, knowledge transition. And so how do you set up the collaboration loop so that they can happen quickly with as much context as possible, so that you're not losing weeks and months to just explaining what you've been doing for the last few months to someone who's going to pick it up and run from there? And so they're the kinds of things that can really set you up for success.
And I think something that listeners will also resonate with at the moment is that real pressure on us all to be in a state of continuous learning. So I've got to ask, as someone right in the heart of the R&D space, where or how do you self-educate? How do you keep up to speed with the latest trends and ensure you don't get left behind and continue to lead the way? Anything you could share around that?
Just acknowledging it's hard. The rate of change is so high. And not, we've talked a lot about AI. It's just like every day there's a stream of new capabilities from existing and new players. So I would say but then just in the general software and then science and the modalities that are happening, it's a huge surface area to keep up to date on. So I would say there's a few things. There's things I read. So I read Hacker News regularly. Obviously, it has a certain, it has a certain view on the world. I listen to podcasts like this to hear what others are doing. One of the best ways to learn, I feel, is from practitioners who have been through it, and you can learn from what others have done and learned, rather than, making the same mistakes. I love to learn from the experience of others. So podcasts, I commute, so I listen to podcasts on the commute. And then within Benchling, we're fortunate to have folks that come either from the bench, from the lab, or come from academic backgrounds. And so there's a natural leaning towards teaching. And so I lean on colleagues both at Benchling and then former colleagues. So I'm in various text chains, WhatsApp groups, whatever we're in. And, if something comes up, we're just leaning on each other to say, have you done this? How are you thinking about this space? So like there's a small couple of private networks, and then there's the public professional networks that you stay to as well. And I would say just understanding it's a fire hose. And so there are certain things that I'll go deep in, and then it's okay to let other things maybe just skim the surface and say, if I need to, I can always come back and find it later.
Love that. Some priceless advice there. And for anyone listening, just want to find out more information, what's the best place for listeners to find you or your team online, or just dig a little bit deeper on anything we discussed today?
Yeah, benchling.com is a great place to be. We do a lot of updates there. We also have a community for our customers. So if people are Benchling users, we've seen a huge uptick in community activity over the last year or so. And then we have our Bench Talk conference coming up in a few weeks. So you'll hear a lot more about the things we've been working on there. So there may be some of the ideas to stay connected. And then like everyone else, I'm on LinkedIn as Stephen Deasy. And so you'll find all of the Benchling updates too. We post them on LinkedIn with, product updates, customer updates, and things like that.
Awesome. I'll make sure links are added to everything so people can find that nice and easily. And I just love chatting with you today about how you're working to transform the pharma and biotech R&D processes with technology and make it possible to improve the entire drug discovery and development industry. A huge problem that you're going after there. It's great to hear the role of cloud technology, AI, and everything in between. But just thank you for shining a light on this today.
Neil, thanks. Lovely to chat this morning.
After listening to Stephen now, I think it's clear that the biotech industry is at a critical crossroads. Benchling's work in providing a unified platform for scientists and integrating AI across the entire R&D process, I think is essential for turning discoveries into real-world treatments. And Stephen also highlighted the importance of data quality and accessibility and ensuring AI's success in biotech. But what steps will you take to modernise your approach to R&D and make the most of AI's potential? The new year is just around the corner, and if starting your own podcast for you or your business is on your 2025 to-do list, I've got 3 incredible options that will help you get started and make sure we get that podcast of yours off the ground. Option 1, let's keep it simple. You focus on recording and work alongside me. I'll handle everything else. For $2,000, I will edit, produce and publish a season of 12 episodes, and I will ensure that they hit Spotify, Apple Podcasts and all other podcasting platforms on the schedule that you dictate. So if you want to go a podcast a week, a podcast every 2 weeks, a podcast every month, $2,000, you've got 12 episodes in the bag, ready to go. So if you or your business are interested in getting a podcast live and you want to work directly with me, visit my website, techblogwriter.co.uk, email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, or also please send me a DM on any social platform such as LinkedIn, X or Instagram. I'm just at Neil C. Hughes on every single platform. But if you need additional support, check out aipodcast.ing. They'll manage everything from your website to social media promotions. Plus, you'll also get 25% off your first month with the code Neil C. Hughes. And that'll make it easier than ever for you to get your podcast off the ground. But option 3, if you're the kind of person that is techie enough and prefer to go it alone, Libsyn, the podcast host where I host this podcast, has you covered with up to 2 months of free hosting if you use my promo code TBW. So if you sign up on November the 1st to maximise your free trial, you won't have to pay a thing till January the 1st, 2025. So what are you waiting for? Whether you need a little help or a lot of help or no help at all, 2025 is the year to make you or your business's podcast dreams a reality. Let's make it happen together. But that's it for today. I've got another guest, a completely different topic lined up for tomorrow. You are all cordially invited to join me once again. Hopefully, I will speak with you all then. But bye for now.